Hey, everybody. I hope and pray that you're doing well today as we come to our word from the Word. And today, that word is warning. Warning. Now, here we come to the end of the Old Testament, the end of the book of Malachi. And here you see a warning coming for the day of the Lord. And it's a warning that there will be a special character on the scene before that dreadful day. Now, it's interesting that as Malachi in the Old Testament ends, looking ahead to maybe a bad time, because you'll see it says it ends with talking about a curse that could come, and Matthew chapter 1 verse 1 begins with the genealogy of Jesus Christ. So today, let's just go ahead and dive right in and look at Malachi chapter 4, verses 4 through 6. Remember the law of Moses, my servant, which I commanded him in Horeb for all Israel, with the statutes and judgments. Behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord. And he will turn the hearts of the fathers to the children, and the hearts of the children to their fathers, lest I come and strike the earth with a curse. And you probably heard me say before, a lot of times in Jewish times, when they were looking at these prophets, and if it ended on a bad note like that, they go back and read. They wouldn't say end with like lest the curse. They would be talking about the day of restoration. They would go back and reread one of the other verses to end. They didn't want to be thinking about the negative things that the future could hold. But here, the purpose of today, what I want us to look at is that warning. He says, "Look, there's going to be an Elijah type, an Elijah like person. For instance, John the Baptist is known as. I mean, he was told that he would come in the power and spirit of Elijah, and he was the forerunner of Christ. And as Jesus said, had the people accepted John the Baptist's message, then very well, could have been a fulfillment of this passage. But the fact that they didn't accept his message, the fact that even as Jesus came and almost that same Elijah type thought process, that as he was coming to turn everybody's hearts back to each other. Remember what Jesus said? His ministry actually was creating divisions in the home, because it would be father against child, and brother against brother, and parents against children, and all that goes along with that. So it seems that this prophecy has not yet been fulfilled. So when will it be fulfilled? Well, some you could even argue, because John the Baptist came in the spirit of Elijah. Some say it was fulfilled there. I don't believe so. Maybe partially fulfilled there. Elijah's seen at the Mount of Transfiguration. They're testifying that Jesus was the Messiah, but there again, not everyone accepted his message. So I would still say not fulfilled. And so, yet to be fulfilled, you could still have the moment of the two witnesses that will minister there, and then be killed and then be raised back to life a few days later in the tribulation time. And very well could be Elijah or an Elijah type there. And since that is right there at the end of the tribulation, it very well could be that. Because there, if you think, okay, well, if the people listen to that warning, then hearts will be turned back to the way that they should be. And that would make sense leading into the millennial reign of Christ here on earth, that when he comes back, and there in the Elijah-ness of that when Jesus comes back, he will strike a curse for those around it, but that it will actually be a time of blessing for his people. And that's what, if you read the whole chapter, Malachi chapter 4, you'll see that it brings blessing for those that fear him, but essentially a curse for those who would oppose him. Now, what do we have to do? What does all that have to do with us? You say, look, like we talked about yesterday in worship. Yeah, I'm born again. I'm part of the church, and I believe the church is going to be raptured up before the tribulation. So there is no warning of that coming. Our warning has already been given, that he will come like a thief in the night when we least expect it, and that no one knows the day or hour in which Jesus will call us home in the rapture, where we meet him in the clouds. There's no warning for that. There's no sign for that. We're just that is the next thing we're waiting for. See, there's a lot of signs that would be leading up to the time that Jesus would come back to earth, step foot on earth, as we've already talked about, there when he places his foot down on earth again at his second coming. That's when he's going to take on basically the Battle of Armageddon. So, in the meantime, what are we to do with this warning that we have of even the rapture or even the things of the book of Revelation shows us the things that are to come? Well, we certainly aren't to keep them to ourselves. How terrible it is, and how I mentioned this yesterday, how hard-hearted we have gotten and how cold-hearted we have gotten as believers today to say, "Well, I'm going to heaven. I'm gonna be in the rapture. I don't have to worry about the tribulation." But what about those friends, those family members, those coworkers, those strangers that you meet, even the people sitting beside you in church who maybe really have never been saved? Are we really concerned about them enough to say, "Hey, let me pass on this warning to you that if you don't accept him now, then it's not impossible in the tribulation time, but it's going to be so much harder. So why put off for tomorrow what you could do today?" The other part is we know that life is but a vapor and we are not promised another day on this earth. So are you ready? Are we being good stewards of the gospel message and even the message of warning that we've been given? In other words, to just put it simply, are we warning others with the same warning that's already been given to us? How pitiful would it be to know that there was a fire and not tell a single person in the building? How terrible would it be to have as wildfires as we see so often in especially like California and out west? How terrible would it be to see the flames coming towards a home of people who couldn't walk, people who couldn't see, couldn't hear, that had no ability to rescue themselves, and we wouldn't get involved? Well, today we have been given the warning as believers, and we need to share what that warning is, and we need to go help rescue the perishing, as the old hymn says. Yes, we don't do the saving, but we point them to the Savior who can, the Savior who will save them if they'll turn to him. So today, I pray that we take the warning to heart and that also we'll share that warning with others. God bless you, and I pray you have a great, great day.